Okay, I'm live and a bit down because I'm in a wheelchair and I can't get it up. Right, this goes out to, make some notes here, to in United Kingdom, people in my position. I've got dental ill health and very well at the moment, so it's the first video in a while to update. This is going to be a bit of a research background, well, pound outs and things, and it might help others. Doubt if it helped me because of what's going on, but this is basically found some old emails. There's so much going on with me at the moment, but the displacement from my private dwelling is happening unlawfully. Right. Despite going through the local government healthcare ombudsman, they're based in 55 Burns Road, Coventry, and that is in England, and that is in obviously England, and they're Dun and Bradstreet Company, and they're a limited company. They're not government. It's an illusion. Dun and Bradstreet, so it's www.dunandbradstreet. You can type in the first letter is uppercase, then the second letter of government is uppercase because the rest of the letters are lowercase. Then health, uppercase, and then the care is cares uppercase, ombudsman, and then you'll find the Dun and Bradstreet number. Are you? Oh, hiya, Mac Waters, honey. Are you? You need to get better picture quality. I can't do that with my camera, unfortunately. I'm not technically minded, so just bear with us on that. If I'm on my phone doing a recording or something, it's different, but this laptop, it should work. Perhaps it's grainy. Perhaps it's just grainy. I don't know. My carer will sort it out later. I'll have a check. She's more IT. Oh, hi, Jay, US News. Okay. How are you? How are you today? Hope you're doing better than I. Okay, here's some updates, and this is my research. It's hard work, and I haven't updated what's been going on with Department of Works and Pensions and that saga, but I'll stick to these two. Well, how many I'm dealing with? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companies at the moment, so there's a lot going on. Right. The deliberate intention is to displace me from my home any day as of 9 years contention statute law via assumption presumption. So if you don't know, I've studied a bit of contract law, but when your personal situation, your health deteriorates, then the state civil servants as agents in their job remit role, and the public pays for their wages, by the way. I'm living in an area where they're testing this out. If you go on Google and research Northamptonshire County Council, right, the building right behind me cost £54 million of the public purse. They target me because I uncovered certain things about the contracts by third-party companies. And this National Housing Company, Home Group Limited, contracted Guildford Tri Limited, head office up in Newcastle in UK. And I happened to stumble across information by the workmen over the years when they were building that building, and I got to find things out. I haven't gone public with what I know, I just kept quiet. So they've got to get rid of me, haven't they, in the area? I'm the only one in my physical reduction of my health in this location, and all the able-bodied people, they get what they need, and the bigger picture in this area, they got to take disabled people, high complex physical disabilities, and you won't even believe what I'm going to come into in a minute, what an email evidence says I don't have in my home. If you go back in some of my videos, I might have showed you I do have a hoist. I have these NHS England is a contract company that funds in your area, towns and cities, and that is by Neen. Well, in my area, it's called Neen Commissioning, another company. It's all commerce, business, and contracts, but they use and abuse their procedures to suit their profit-making remits for their mates behind the scenes, if you get my drift. And so therefore people who are unfortunately don't have the support network of their family members, perhaps, like certain, Asian communities are that way sometimes, and they're have to rely on the state. So the state system is coming babysit. But the twist to all this now, the way they're doing it onto me, you get educated and you learn things because you have to hold people accountable. So I'll go on to the Local Government Care Ombudsman Service Limited, and the Dun & Bradstreet company number, and the CEO is Michael King. I found his email and I'd emailed directly to the man, not the corporation, the man, to get a remedy all these nightmare. I wished I'd never contacted public servants since the 3rd of October 2017, when my daughter-in-law witnessed my last serious stroke, and I've not recovered on my right side this time. My body functions on that, and I'm much weaker by transferring. The only reason I thought, say they take it to the ombudsman, however you spell it, and it's a limited company. Yeah, it is a limited company. It's my notes, and I've got emails, evidence of all this. So yeah, if you go on Google or any search engine and just type in the website for United Kingdom, www.dunandbradstreet.co.uk. Let me take my piece of paper. I haven't got another camera to show you the correct way of my handwriting. Dunandbradstreet.co.uk. You go into this section and look for where it says DUNS, D-U-N- and it's a S and a DUNS number. And you type in local government, how any company you're dealing with, even the Department of Works and Pensions. Oh, yes. So going back, not go back too long, but go back to 2011 and 12 when I had the same problems with certain civil servants before in a different area. That's when I began studying the factual evidence on contract law and commerce. I'm learning trust law, but at the moment that's on hold. Right. The first-hand knowledge, individuals, men and women, we have the first-hand knowledge, but the personal opinions or presumptions are made by these civil servants all the time. And this is what they're relying on, the public not being aware. Right. I'm going to mention the other. They got involved because I thought one may just have all my evidence, first-hand knowledge, emails, the past year, how I have been failed miserably by the agents on behalf of Northamptonshire County Council. Right. The CEO is public knowledge. The CEO for the Northamptonshire County Council, head office behind me, and the company house reference number and Dun & Bradstreet number. First, we'll go into the company house number company, public funded company, so the public pays the services across the road. not what you think by the so-called statutes and acts. But they don't want us to know this, so when you do the research, okay. The company number is UC04071168. If you go back in this channel, you'll see me showing the paper evidence I've got since 2000, oh gosh, we're going back 2011, maybe even more. And I tell you, a former chap, his website was known by, and get me, I go on facts, I don't go on hearsay. And they don't want us to be empowered, I tell you that now. So that's a company. So everything to do with, let me go on to the emails, reference, one-handed, so I'm balancing the laptop. So when there's more cuts going on, okay, let me go out of that one. So in business, and this is by a civil servant going back July, I mean, this is all kicked off, oh gosh, how many months? So when this former civil servant left a job in October, it's all began for me. The Statute Act, Care Act 2014, and the procedures are meant to offer people my position. And if you seem to be complex, it's more funding issue to them rather than your natural neighbour rights and human rights and disability reasonable adjustments. So I refer to an email, 18th July as evidence 2018. Don't know why she's sending it crack of dawn in the morning, which I'm not awake that time. And she claims sorry for delay because they're all on holiday. That's when the holiday season kicked in for their civil servants. Okay, on the 1st of June 2018, I did not get, this is when I had to do a lot of homework, and I did not get the full disclosure of what data, especially my private 54 years of medical data, these civil servants are going to get. Shock, horror, by the unbelievable call I had just before the news was beginning of June last year, 2018, that she gained all my medical notes without my consent. The documents I had, a former paralegal, a guy training in trust law, a guy called David with me on the first two officer meetings because I was led to believe, because I suffer from dental and ill health on top. So I was not in a position to meet anyone prior to the original call, end of 2017. The only reason I'm in this particular situation is that the disrepair in this social housing, sorry, it's a fly coming in, limited, and that is a corporation. They've got a massive board of trustees and sewn up their assets into a trust of equity. I did not know that a few weeks ago because I said I was just studying trust law. And it's no wonder that this is how the national, oh gosh, in my opinion anyway, the disinformation and misleading and taking men and women to the Kango courts, the Ministry of Justice, which is also, you can go and Dun & Bradstreet, which I've done, and type in the location where you may someday may be offered to go to an invite to a place of business, which is Ministry of Justice, and the head office is 102 Petty France, London, and it is a company. And every area office, so you'll say the first tier department, social chamber, the second tier, which is usually Royal Courts, head office in London. I've dealt with all these people over the years, but I didn't know what I know now, obviously. I mention that because If I hadn't done that research these past months and come up with the evidence of fact to fully rebut the assumptions about my personal character, well, I still don't know it will work, because I'm still tomorrow, is I call it Devil Day, to do some more paperwork to do a notice of fault. I've already done a notice of default to seek the full disclosure terms and conditions of a contract. Never been forthcoming to do with, let me go on to this one, my bit paper. I've got some notes, keep on track. A Limted Care Services Limited, their Dun and Bradstreet number is 217-51757. The managing director, it's public knowledge, is Kathleen Ainshaw. I have nothing against these individuals because obviously I don't know them personally, okay? So I'm not here to discredit anyone personally. The other company house information number is 078189558. Since 2010, right up to 2014, I was, well, mainly 2012, I would say, I was displaced from my home. I was blackmailed and I got evidence, audio and video evidence, and I was physically harmed. And I've been trying to get these certain civil servants as agents responsible, held accountable all this time, and not one has. So the psychological impact of the concern that these individuals are 2019, I found out by doing more research. And if you ever find, if you want to get a job or someone's trying to promote themselves, you go onto the LinkedIn. It's like a business app where you're just putting your profile or CV and you've got headhunters looking for people for a job or a company. Well, I found that these previous people I dealt with as agents are still in their senior job positions for years. So how can I, all this time on now, be offered any services by the same company, knowing full well a situation in 2017, beginning of the year in March, when I did 9 documentation of cease and desist by contract law to this particular company, its agents, its CEO, its board of directors, for falsifying documentation by another public funded body. So that was about 9 documents, and I managed to do that cease and desist. It didn't stop. Behind the back door, they've been using the implementation of statute law 2014, section 42, which means deemed in the eyes of public servants, let me get rid of the pop-ups, any man or woman with high complex physical disabilities and psychological disabilities. Mine's from effect of a tort in tort law, but in statute law it's a crime, but in tort law it's known as a tort. Okay. And that goes back to 13th of the 12th, 2002. That's attempted murder on my life. A serial killer. He's locked up for life, and the 3 women are not here to speak. I'm the only survivor. I can't go into public what happened because I'm still traumatized by it for life. Right. I'll stick to that, put that to one side for the moment, and then I'll come into how they're using that to discredit me now. Again. Right. Let me get the email. I was just trying to do a document just now to do another full rebuttal. I've got another channel set up, and that is not exposing anything specific, but I've got I've got something, but I'm trying to find some old emails, right? Contract terms, conditions. Oh yeah, I just had that. So where was that documentation? Let me just find that minute. Right. When one is being offered, for example, a ombudsman healthcare service, thinking might get a remedy for this character assassination and leaving me for over 8 months without the offer of a social worker. What it's called in statute law, the Care Act 2014, it's called a V7 overview assessment. And by the way, if you ever hear about men and women going through the offer of this personal independence, as you can see, my previous video had quite a few views on. Haven't done an update yet on that. You wouldn't even believe on that one what's going on. Department of Works and Pensions, I sent the evidence at their company and to the CEO. Clacton House head office and the area office is just a postal location, Wolverhampton. You got BA or B9, it's just a postal location. Now, when you're talking about their contract nationally with Capital Business Services Limited, and again, I would always, my opinion, use Dun & Bradstreet to search the evidence and get that printed out and send with your documents to prove that they are a company. And on Data Protection Statutory Act 2000, Statute Law 2018, it gives them the consent to use your personal data. I can't pronounce the definitions of these specific words, but because without your consent as a man or woman, these private companies, the contracted third-party agents, cannot use your data. And this is why they are not scanning your medical evidence into their computer software. And this is where the men and women employed, self-employed, they are self-employed, I repeat. They are not in an office space. They work from home, they work remotely, online, and they obviously, we all know they go by commission. I found this evidence of first-hand knowledge that they never once scanned my serious private documents since October, well, before that, 2018 to date, in their computer system. If I had not found by chance in London, online, visible, based in Camden, London, it's like a charity, but obviously they also a company, but the people are very good, and it's all women, nothing against men, but they specialise in the self-advocacy type self-help group. And as soon as I mentioned who I was a survivor of this talk by, they did an excellent email dated the 23rd of May 2019 to seek the offer of paper, we call it a paper medical based on paper evidence instead of the face-to-face. And it was backed up with reason and the clause in the Department of Works and Pensions Welfare Reform Statute law using their own. Sometimes when you're learning this contract law, it's very straightforward, but when you're dealing with this so-called national claim to be government, sometimes to use their own clauses and statutes in relevant to your situation, is important to include that clause, because in business, in commerce, that's how they work, and how to sign their documents is absolutely vital. So I'm not sure when I can do another video to help show you how to sign V, capital V, dot, capital C dot and your normal signature in front of their paperwork, and especially now it's all online. That means that you're not liable when they put the word declaration. It means that you're fully reliable for any mistakes they make, and they won't be held accountable. So when I'm not expert, I'm just self-taught. So don't take my word for gospel. Do your own diligence and research if you're able to. If I can help anyone else, then I hope it might mean something and we can get somewhere to hold these people accountable. So on the basis of the fact that I was messed about unlawfully by, as I said, these people going on holiday last year, then the death of my mum, which happened on the 6th of July, unfortunately, 2018. The funeral was August the 10th on a Friday, 2018. And as the Department of Works and Pensions Limited, the civil servants have stopped my DLA. You go back on that video how that happened. And eventually in May the 29th this year, 2019, a letter came admitting their mistakes of 7 months, claiming I did show good cause for not going to the offer by Capita Business Services Limited, place of business, and also, by the way, once offer medical ground for a home visit. I didn't know about the particular clause and my particular situation that I would meet and still do, of not to undergo this offer of a face-to-face with strangers in my home. And the particular clause for personal independence allowance offer payment is different to universal credit. It's different to employment support allowance offer. It's different to the ESA offer, which I've already know about the ESA offer on the support group side, but they changed the gateboat completely by bringing. I found out who set up the Universal Credit Program. It's all one big hook and winks. Yes, absolutely. Just UK News, absolutely. When I found and did the research who the individual was, political, of course, set up originally going back before 2018, or going back 2015, she set up, and I haven't got her specific, when I find it on my link app again, because when you go and put the research, I stumbled across her and I found she was a brainchild behind the Universal Credit on their computer. She's got computer training background, and get this, links with with Capita PLC. Capita Business Services Limited is a division, one of the department head office in London, of the international company. It's a data mining company, Capita PLC. Okay, and they have contracts throughout England, Scotland, and Wales, but mainly England, with every claim to be borough councils and county councils. Right, I'm coming on to why they're targeting me specifically. This area by 2020 is going to be 2 unity councils. This is all over the news. I'm not sure you get the correct facts these days out, but when I done the research, I found out a lot of people are just putting the mainstream things on social media, but haven't come up with the research and evidence of fact. And it's just pure chance I have this background and research and PR from years ago. And I've got to have a good day, which is not a lot at the moment. But put that one to side, that unfortunately, I have been trying to look for an agent in lawyer. That's a joke in itself. So many, it's unreal. I've contacted to set up a trust, trust and equity, to protect my assets in the sense of the subjects I've been learning about, to hold so these civil servants as agents can't come in and grab everything and then pretend that I need to go A, B, and C, D, E, and if I don't do what they require, then they're going to push their statute on me, detain me, and use their, this is how serious it's getting now, to use the presumption that I cannot do whatever their assumptions and opinions are. So, excuse me. Catherine Ainshaw, the recent video of the so-called Northamptonshire County Council meeting was recently. The terms conditions which I'm trying to hold them accountable to do this notice of fault is that initial verbal offer, the 3rd of the 10th, 2017, excuse me, up to really before they messed things up with me during last year, before that former social workers agent left a job on the 31st of the 10th, 2018, I was left with no support or not knowing what clear pathways was meant to be going forward. Instead, they just attacked me characterization wise, and then set me up where trying to offer me on occupation therapy assessments on equipment loan, because I had to research this on that subject and the framework that they use for the offer of an OT assessment. I have to unwangle all the web to break it down bit by bit, and it takes time. And when I was led to believe all these offers, and I think I put it on private because I deliberately needed to audio record of a meeting. I thought this new social worker called Claire, dated Friday 23rd of 11th, 2018 at 2 p.m, was going to be completing B7 care needs assessment in line with the Statute Act Care Act 2014. That piece of documentation was going to be my additional evidence for the offer by Department of Works and Pensions on the PIP form section 2, where it details what my needs are on the personal task. They're very detailed, it's very complex, but my friend's done me a type version, but it needs to be just adjusted slightly, and having trouble trying to print things out on my computer at the moment. But anyway, to adjust it, and then a copy of this B7 care assessment would have gone in as additional evidence to show these civil servants, i.e. Capita Business Service Limited, bear with me, it gets so blinking, up to say it as I remember it, how it's in my notes. And that evidence of fact, I would have thought, would go along to show that I don't need their face-to-face offer. They don't do the physical examinations to talk, but when this horrendous experience recently was, I got misinformed by a certain individual, and I can't say publicly that bit right now because that is another serious situation going on. I think I got a drink somewhere. Yeah. I've got to keep on the time. Okay. So when it was claimed in April this year, well, if you remember, we had this bank holiday, didn't we? March, was it? End of March 2018. Oh, sorry, this year, 2019. I'd hoped by now that the offer replacement of the social worker would have been dealt with by now, and it hadn't been for months. So in March 2019, this company known as Voiceability Limited head office, again, you can check any of these companies out on Dun & Bradstreet, which I've done. And I've done a notice of demand with their CEO and locally. Now, if you don't realise, every town and city has their branch, their local offices, but my gosh, when I found out they were also set up its own company. But how their contracts work to offer disabled people in my situation, I was never given the full disclosure that there's limited in hours, block 8 hours in total, to do a 40-page document meant to be 1 hour at a time. For the 8 hours will go straight away because it's a 40-page V7 care assessment document, never accessible for my needs, wasn't given in a CD format so I could read on the laptop section by section in my own time. And it's never been completed since last summer. And so therefore I've been going around in circles of civil servants as agents in these companies to specifically and to state, well, provide your evidence of first-hand knowledge of the policy where it states I need an occupation therapy OT assessment first before the offer to refer me on the long-term specialist department of this this county council limited civil servants. There's so many departments there now, it's unreal. But the Pacific one, a lot of these, I'm not on about ordinary men and women working there, I'm on about management level. There's too many management job reference, and they've been in their position for years. And when I've linked up who's connected to who on the business linking app, they have connections in. I'm not surprised when I'm about to say this, perhaps you may not be surprised. They have connections within, in my area, NEEN Commissioning Group, NHS Foundation Trust. If you didn't know NHS Foundation Trust, depending what area you live in, go and check it out on dunandbradstreet.co.uk. You'll get the Dun company number. It's a company. So when you find out, in my area, it's a lady called Hillary, CEO, and you find out, hold on, the initial offer, all online now, for medical offer services, well, I've been delayed, being blocked for 9 months waiting for Pacific offer a service. And yet all the emails and the documents are just being blanked, ignored. And if you look at the NHS so-called charter, every man and woman, if you're waiting over 18 weeks for anything, whatever subject it may be, you have a right to go to be considered, to be offered funds, or your choice of provider, a choice of company, so private. And this is what I've done. They're blanking that to no babe negligent. And I'm not surprised when I come on to this. When I found out, again, in my area, the reason why the digital NHS England Leeds head office, NHS England, again, head office in Leeds, a board of directors, CEOs, American links to private companies. That's why it's going private already, long time ago. It's to create, you need health insurance, money, profit, yeah? And this is where I can't even get hold of the offer by services in the medical practice in my area. Again, the contracts are like a bunch of contracts and monetary system and business, again, by NHS England funds primary care, every medical practice. So wherever you live, you have the same mechanism set up where you have the NEEN commissioning. It's just commissioning out, just subcontracting out. So I thought, right, let's go down a different avenue to get offer goods and services in my situation. Let's go on to, it's known as personal budgets, into a different pool of framework for personal care. So I have mobility disability, so I meet that particular tick box. And so it should be offered by a medical practitioner in their job role as agent. So it could be a nurse, it could be a GP, and conjunction maybe with also a social worker. So all this period of past year, finding this out myself, nobody told me, and do the research, that my requirement to date now is to go to a different framework to get an offer of occupation therapy on provision of certain conditions and contract law. So that was already dealt with last year. I thought, no. Instead, the certain individual calls Sue, since I said back in 2017, thought a situation was dealt with, but no, she's just been dragging it out and using my help against me unlawfully. And she's got links into, in this area, I mean, they're all connected, the NHS, the health, the housing, it's all interlinked, you know. When you unravel it all, you just see it so clearly. So therefore, I thought, going to Citizen Voice, yes, they're great, aren't they? A national company head office in London. You think you're going to a branch or an area office wherever you live in England. I don't know how it works in Scotland or Wales. No, it is a limited company as well in my area. I have just, this past months, we've just absolutely been dealing with, no disrespect again to the individual, but I've got emails of evidence since October last year trying to get assistance on the person dependence matter, the Dwp limited, and they blanked me. I tried to get an offer home visit, they blanked me. And then the excuse was, we don't have enough employees to offer the female home visit. Like, you hear horror stories already where people are dying in hospitals and they can't get the services they need. You're hearing where they're literally dying on the sick beds and they're being found fit for work. But anyway, when I thought, well, hold on, there's got to be some kind of loophole. And that's what I've been searching for, the angle loophole. And once I find things out, I'll come on here and try to share some knowledge. Now, when I've got the actual, I've got the bunch of paperwork, and it's a lot of paperwork, so I can't balance it with the laptop in front to show you the evidence. But hopefully tomorrow won't be one of them days, because you won't believe what Department of Works and Pensions have gone and done again. They stopped my delay again. After the letter of 29th of May this year, admitting they failed and they were wrong, and the sentence advice, be careful about this. Anyone out there being advised to use the online Ministry of Justice tribunal first tier online appeal system, big, massive warning. In my opinion, no. Do not do that. Anybody with very complex disabilities, bear with me. Yeah, just had another pop up about another subject I was looking at today. The questions are so, you don't have, it's a bit like I'm seeing people's posts and blogs about the universal credit offer and the journal. And so good people, it's up to us, ordinary people, to share our experiences, to help one another now, because you're not going to get that on the mainstream side of things. And if you are, well, then you might be waiting, like me, for a long time to get a remedy. And there is excellent people. I mean, but be careful about social media and Facebook, because they are monitoring everything in once you're waking up to what you know, and then they don't want you to be waking up. So, excuse me, my hair's doing my head in today. My mate's just straightened my hair out for me. So I'm not particularly bothered where I'm going to end up, where they want me to, because I thought if I can get this information out in the next few days, then by the time where I'm going to end up, I won't be able to do anything, because they would restrict all of my human rights completely. And that's where the corruption comes in. They're silencing me in ways you can't even comprehend. And they're using this as they've been monitoring this, and I've got another, I said, channel set up, and mainly it's about the weather. I like photography, so take a bit about the sun when it's a bit hot weather coming up this way. So yeah, so I stick to the point with the online. Ministry of Justice, how it works with the online and certain advice, it's easier for them. You obviously might be aware or not be aware that the contract with Department of Works and Pensions for the Universal Credit, just to get you online, will affect your ability to some kind of initial protection to claim back. I'm not 100% on that side, so I can't talk about it specifics right now, but I know a very good website, and if you want to check it out and even just log in for free, it's benefitsandworks.co.uk. They stick to the statute law side of it, and very excellent sources, independent, you know. And if you do have that ability to download their documents, and it goes through specifics and all these offers of benefits and how to survive, like food cupboard, you know, the tins of dry food and the basics, things like that. And very good blogs are out there. And where they want to end up putting me, I will have no access to internet. I will have no access to anything locally. I'll be miles away. The state will come down, they are coming down to use court protection on me. They want to get access to the offer I'm being offered, and nobody contacts me for years, and out the blue, the Ministry of Justice has a different division, and the department, they're called Criminal Injuries Compensation. And that again is another company in itself in Glasgow. And yet they use the Ministry of Justice, well, by the way. So it's ironic that I survived attempted murder. I got nothing against them. They got busy lives, and I'm proud of them. I've got grandchildren I don't see. So life is difficult, but it's about who you really are inside your heart. And don't think too much with the mind, because it can play tricks on you, depending who you are. And also, when you get your really down days, it's best not to deal with anything and switch off your devices and just put some chill out music on, whatever works for you. Because if you think you can rely on the public services now, I hope in your area it might be different, but in this area it's not. It's cut back to the bone in areas I can't even put into words, because I know the deep corruption and the political areas and who's behind it for so long. And I've never been able to say who's who, because unfortunately, seriously though, I still live in the same area. I'm too much at risk. They've got to get rid of me in the system. They've got to see me be doing it honourably and lawfully, and I've got to be seen not to be saying too much, if you know what I mean. But I'll just keep it to the facts, which is public knowledge. So I go on to the Care First database, so the data system now. It all tallies in with Capita Business Services Limited, Business Capita PLC. So if you're dealing with, I'll give you an example in statute law. You're dealing with your council tax, you're dealing with housing benefit, you're dealing with anything with the the website gov. Whatever it's called, is all online. And as I said, with the tribunal, Ministry of Justice, is all tallied in together. Driver license, passport, I don't have none of those. Photographic IDs, I don't travel, I don't, and it's like when this, like my wheelchair's, my back's killing me in my wheelchair. When you're dealing with, you need some identifiable ID to prove who you really are. That's all to do with statutory law for their computerized system the technology now, I'm not expert in it, as I said, but to create the digital. Have you heard of this yet? They want to create another, I'm sure you are flesh and blood, breathing, living. Well, if you come across, they want to put chip in your brain now, and with the AI, the computerized system, yeah, it sounds far-fetched, doesn't it? But this is what this is, the agendas, sick agendas are. Okay, if you're technical savvy and you're not bothered about all that, fine. But I just remember my son years ago watching the movies called Matrix, and I remember a good movie called Children of Men set in the future. Look what they're doing with a conquer and divide. So I believe we're all on this earth for the same, just to try and get on and progress in life. And but there's constant divide. Doesn't matter what part of the world you're living in, there's some conflict going on. And the Brexit is always a distraction. So I'm just me, and I've just lived life, and I'm still trying to. And I realise that by the short period really we do have on this earth, we're just trying to do the best I can, and that's all I do, is share information. I might not be able to get a remedy the way I need it, and it's horrendous what's going on. I've done a couple of posts on social media of evidence of fact of the 2 years of not repair the wet room. They won't repair it. I've got my documents evidence prior, years ago, national company, same people are employed. They have to, because if they want to stick with their pensions and they got a mortgage and they got kids and family, I don't blame them. They're just trying to survive. But it's a system set up in business, in commerce. And there are great people out there in England have been exposing the corruption much bigger than what I'm talking about. So deep and dark, it's unreal. But yet they're being set up on false mental health fraud. And they're making videos, they're stating information that is being kept away from the public domain, and they dig. I wouldn't get myself in that situation. I know too well from previous people I've met with in my formal years when I was in PR and research, and I got to know well-known people over the years. I didn't know half what I know now, of course, but as I said, life is short, because you don't know when you can get ill, you don't know when you get run over, you don't know when you'll end up in my situation, and you don't know where these civil servants as agents will come on and say, my gosh, you left to live like this. Every time, well, it's not often, I had a setup, I recorded on audio. It's so important to record things. Not shove it in people's faces, but in your own private dwelling, you've got every damn right. And if you live in a block of flats like I, when you put a notice on your window, denying private right of access to these corporations, corporate bodies, agents, representatives, and you're sending them a notice, you're setting your terms and conditions to come to your private dwelling in your home. And it is frustrating. Bear you in mind, if you're in my situation, you end up suddenly getting ill by common law only. The police, the public servants, as agents, do have a duty of care to break in your door. And so does the ambulance service, individual civil servants, because that's saving, the life and limb. And there's particular clause they go on. And that is, we're meant to have common law jurisdictions still in England. I don't know how it works in Scotland or Wales, but no, it's all about the crown, it's all about commerce, it's all about business, and it's nothing personal. It's just using the collateral of men and women, ordinary, and if you've got family, your children, you sign up, say, if you see this and you've got a partner or whatever, and they're just you're having your first child or whatever, and you're having it in a state funded hospital, and they get you to sign this paperwork, you're too busy concentrating on beautiful, wonderful birth of this innocent child, and then you just signed over your consent to the state to create another NHS number, national insurance number, all their business and commerce. And that birth certificate, if you ever researched it, is traded on the stock market. It's just can't even comprehend. It goes back in history to Roman and Vatican, and it is very deep. I used to be very good at history years ago, but it's all to do with business. That's all it boils down to. Finance, business. There isn't any, since the gold standards at 1933, when, for example, it's well known in America, when the Rothschilds family, the banking industry, it all went there's no money. What is money? You look at history, the bartering system, and what is today. The only commodity you can invest in is in yourself, in food, water, skills, in survival, and because when you see the bigger picture, how they're creating deliberate divide and what's going on with this, oh gosh, look at history of the wars and everything in business, the bigger picture side to it all, not just about what I'm talking about today, is just repeats itself. It doesn't stop. And so now it's all digital, as I said, and creating this new technology to create, as I said, come on, they've got to bring corporations in that creates the new design for computerization to link up your offer of services online. So, for example, I can no longer call up the GP, and it's now you've got to go through a different business app. It's all apps. And then you've got to put your symptoms in the app before you can actually get a call back from a GP. You're really suffering and you can't get through to anyone, then they just advise to ring NHS England funded call centre, where you can check your symptoms online. You might not get anywhere, or you can learn about natural health and how to self-care. But you can't self-care in a broken bone, can you, really? And then when I found this on top, it links in with what I'm trying to say with the NHS, because I found this out too. Every town and city with commissioning groups, commissioning funding contracts, a bed in a primary care setting hospital goes on their name differently. So it goes on contracts. Again, contract law. I didn't know this 2017, and again I was there 2018, and I didn't know that if you're medically fit for discharge, but in their terminology, you're socially not fit for discharge, it means something different. So, for example, my private friends who work in private industry, as well as trying to care for me in the hours, the shift work they do, I thought in hindsight that the offer, these thinking they're so-called governments, but no, they're limited companies, their terms conditions would keep to their honour and be a full disclosure until the 1st of the 8th, 2018. That is all over the news in my area. Northamptonshire County Council Limited there had misused the public funds, and they all this was by design, by the way, to create the two unity councils by 2020. They're meeting back in June this year, 2019. They're using YouTube to democracy type public meetings. And when I saw Catherine Ainshaw, who is the managing director of two companies, one of them is, as I just quoted, Olympus Care Services Limited, and she is her job role in with conjunction with Northamptonshire County Council Limited, and in their so-called political meeting, it's just to show they know what they're going to do before it happens into the public domain. And they brought up a new policy. So whatever I was offered verbally, as I said, more really from May 2018, June 2018, up to 23rd of November 2018, and then waiting around for months, and then suddenly there was an email 14th of April 2000, I think it was May actually, 2018, I've got it on my device, of this Voiceability Limited. And I thought, hold on, why are you contacting me? It's got to be from this company. And again, it's all, again, contracts. I think I've still got the email. Right, let me just get this up. I've saved it in. Okay, here we go. Don't know if I can share this. We can see the logo. That logo colour at the bottom of the screen. It's called LGSS Law Limited. Okay. The managing director, I found out who it was, and they are. Let me go into it because I investigated. A lady called Carter. I won't pronounce the last surname. I won't breach. Well, basically, a male. Well, I don't know. Surname Robertson claimed. Get the email up. On the 20th of June 2018, when I sought clarification by unlawfully stopping the offer of care, adult social care and health, and when I found they have an office space across from me in the building, public building, and I found out they're a limited company too. So, can't read that, I'll read it out. The company number for LGSS Law Limited, and the lawyers for public and not-for-profit sectors, that's what they're called. Right, the company number is 0906748. The head office is up in Huntington, Cambridgeshire. The office is based, and they have a website, and let me just click on that. This is where the contract comes from for any services by any public body. So let me just show you their logo. So every town and city, if any disabled people are being offered a contract claimed to be in adult health social care, and also they deal with children, social care, law and safeguarding. Health and social care. Right, so let me click on safeguarding. This is section 42. You want to watch out for this one and how they can use this. Let me just skip through to the relevant parts where placements, it's all blocks of contract. So when they offer a man or woman claim to be its best interest of, and I can't speak about children, they use statute law as well and their protocols. They can go to Court of Protection head office in Birmingham, run by Ministry of Justice again, and claim that they need to be the deprive a man or woman of their liberty, and they need to use the statute law to go into the court procedures to get that. This is what they're trying on me now. And the presumptions are that they claim to train social agents or social workers are specifically in this area of public law. Okay. And so when I found out, this woman is surname Patel. And if you think why children being taken away from families, no disrespect, they may need it. I'm not expert in this, but when you find out who managing directors are and senior departments of public funded companies, county councils, NHS, how the of your data and what you're sharing. I'll go back to Capital Business Service Limited because they're using that software for all of these, even these lawyers, this law company. They are specifically set up, and we're just ordinary men and women trying to get the service we need, but you don't realise when. Here we go, the head office. Okay, so basically in a nutshell, it's contracts and procurement. And so when they also do with protecting, they like got, gosh, how many departments is unreal, but here we go. This is what I found out. LGSS Law Limited is a private company, and also we are owned by, get this, Cambridgeshire County Council, Bedfordshire County Council and Northamptonshire County Council. So your public funds in those areas, these public funded companies have got this another company set up, LGSS Law Limited, and that's where the contract terms and conditions come in. Contract law, and that's all. I've gone back to the CEO in one's area to seek full disclosure of what's required now, because this meeting in June 2019 claims the offer is prevention on the year 2019 to 2020, my area, the subject adult health social care. How they are doing that now, let's get out of that, and go back to my notes and keep on track. Privatisation, yeah, that's right, absolutely. It's all private. It's not about specific needs of individuals. It's not about, it's all interlinked. And we'll go back, leave that for one side and keep to my notes. Let me just have a quick drink. Because as I found this out, and a lot more on top, an email dated 8th of the 4th, 2019. I try to hold these people accountable when I'm taking on the lion's den kind of thing, not realising it until I get my character torn apart. They went on assumption presumption on their care first data records, and they've been using old care plans going back, gosh, 2012, and they never got things right then. And I won my case years ago. Then I didn't know it was a company called Local Government. However, it was called Local Government, okay, LG Limited Ombudsman at the time, years ago, 2008-9, and they abused my situation, civil servants then, but I didn't know what I knew now, obviously. But now I know what I know. Michael King is the CEO, and there's not even a first-hand knowledge or anything. And these are third-party agents. So on Wednesday, the 17th of April 2019, it wasn't even on a letterhead this document came through. Right. This guy called David, he's an agent, and his email of the 9th of the 4th, 2019 claimed to have a remedy for the negligence of failures for the past, how many months now? It's got to be about 8 months, by Northamptonshire County Council, its agents, management, CEO, since the former offer for social work, I can't make this up, had left her job. There's a particular female called Sue. She works in a particular department. I can't say which because it would identify. I'm not going to do the data protection breach. I'm going to give an excuse. And it says that, how can I word it? How can I word it? Oh, gosh. I think that's the only notes I made. Okay. I've got other notes. I was just trying to randomly this weekend make some notes of what to put, but I think I've kept it to particular short points this time. Right, so basically, there was comments, assumption, presumption being made by I recognise it was this particular female who I dealt with in 2013, where she was literally forcing the offer OT assessment without evidence. And when I found out, hold on, if you're meant to be offering me your statute law, going up like this like a rabbit, the Care Act 2014 assessment process V9, that's meant to be completed first. Well, they stopped all that. But when I had this bad head injury, and I was recovering, I just got out of hospital on the 7th of 9th, 2018, they still pursued with a meeting. And this Voiceability Limited advocate, all due respect, she's wet behind the ears, no experience, what I needed. I knew more than she did. And I'm dozy, head injury, doctor said I need to rest. And when you get a concussion, you need at least 2 weeks, not sign paperwork, let alone whatever you may or may not be able to do. So, of course, this social worker, she's shoving a piece of paper in front of me and claiming she can't find my previous years of occupational therapy reports. Well, I've got email evidence already sent, because when there's services due of the offer of NHS England funded medical equipment of all these previous assessments I've had, well, when we moved into the new office building opposite me, they'd obviously must have lost paperwork. How? Goodness knows, you never know. But I've got old copies. And these old copies, and most relevant up to 2013, I found out by investigating, unless your medical needs are changed in the use of the handling previous assessments of the equipment, there isn't any lawful ground to offer a new OT assessment. I was led to believe up until well, since to date, but mainly 31st of the 8th, 2018, that the only reason I was going to be offered an OT assessment was because my right shoulder, my right side of my body is not recovered from the 2017 stroke effect and the heart attack effect. And that was reinstated on the 7th of the 9th, 2018, 20th of the 9th, 2018, while I was going through the effects of mum's death, while I was going through the pit 1, pit 2 nightmare situation, being let down and having stopped. And all due respect, that poor social at the time was trying to make other calls to Dwp and do all that, because I struggled, my friends are struggling with that even more. And I was misinformed. I had previous 2010 document of the evidence of my spine injury sustained when I got run over. And good job, I found by chance, I think my friend was clearing out a cupboard and looking for something. And I found my late mum's gift she gave to me, sentimental, and found some more paper and I got run over. So it showed 9 witnesses and all calling the police, and nobody showed up. The police didn't show up, but they were hopping around to give their statement, showing the guy jumped the curb and ran my left ankle over his back wheel of the car. And then I hit the road, and that's why it got constant something to do. I'm not expert in neuroscience, but something to do with the back of the brain and the back of the spine, and why I suddenly had my first stroke in 2010, and I've not recovered. And I was in a specialist hospital eventually to fight for everything. And but if these specific wordings are not on your documentation and their system and their paperwork and online especially, they won't refer you to right departments. It's crucial to get your medical data. So that's what I did. And I might have to come back and do part 2 in 10-15 minutes because I didn't realise my mate hasn't got my battery for the laptop here. So I'll just end it because my clock stopped. Oh, you haven't put a battery in the clock. My mates haven't put the battery in the clock. So seriously though, I forgot what I was saying. My battery's gone low. Oh yeah, that social worker claimed unless, well, they misinformed me about the OT assessment. And I found out, cut long story short, and I might have to come do part 2. And my mate's trying to got another one coming in now, and we just realised what the time is. And they're saying to hurry up and wrap it up. So basically, yeah, they are these Olympics Care Service Limited agents, certain female civil servant, keeps blocking me to be referred to the long-term team of the offer North Hampshire Care Council Limited unless I have an OT assessment, but my needs are not changed in the medical use of equipment, and all my emails are evidence already sent to the local government ombudsman, healthcare limited, civil servant, and all of these people are ex-council workers, ex-CEOs, and all councils pay a fee to this government ombudsman to protect their image. And that's why I didn't get anything. And the report came back on the 17th of the 4th, 2019, claiming I don't have a hoist. Oh, there's, we don't even believe civil servants working behind me, don't even believe I've got a hoist in my home, don't believe I've got a sling in my home. Yet it's all on their paperwork and evidence I've got still to date since 2010. So they lied. And also that there's no evidence that I need my wheelchair. There's no evidence that I need my hoist. And we need to evidence that she needs this equipment in a new OT assessment. Do you think I can trust them now? After this presumption, non-first-hand knowledge. So I did a full rebuttal basically, and all of presumption, and basically what they've done is covering their track, and they're using a particular female called Sue to do this. And unless I go to their place offer, which is a care home, I'd offered a hotel 3 times in a row to get my wet room repaired. Around the corner from me, by the way, it's got a wet room and it's got access from my equipment and me. And agents, individuals in my area refusing to fund that unless I have this OT assessment. Oh, by the way, I found my housing records and it shows exactly they already known before what my medical aids are, what my disabilities are, and they don't need an up-to-date report. And I took on them via the National London Head Office Housing Ombudsman Service Limited as well. And guess what? And they discredited me too. And despite my email evidence, I sent black and white evidence. So the end game is they just want to shut me up, put me away in their system, and just forget about everything, just wipe it so they're protected. Allegedly, part 2 coming up, and I'll go into the evidence of the email to warn everybody out there. When you go through certain procedures, my battery is showing literally 7% low. The civil servants say I do not even need a hoist, and the fact that they're attacking my disabilities, discrimination, breach of equality, you name it, it's gone on. And all due respect, I found out previous people, they have the knowledge, the evidence of fact of first-hand knowledge, and I already done a counterclaim and rebuttal. My second rebuttal need to be done at some point tomorrow, and it within tomorrow and hopefully the day after. And it's a certain document and paperwork again. I hope to come back on, do part 2 to show you the evidence. They are companies and they are agents for the man and woman. And with the DWP, well, I have to gradually come into the next video with that and how and why they're trying to put me into their system and making me lose my home or secure tenure unlawfully, and using these civil servants to do it. So God bless everybody there. Take care. It's been a long while since I've been able to come on, say, on this channel. And if I don't come back the next day or 2, you know I'm having a bad time with it. And I'll do my endeavour to get back. So God bless Maggie Waters. And I've now got a thing across the page. And God bless and keep up your good work, JSUK News. Excellent information you're getting out there in statute law. Brilliant, because I need to know both sides, you know. It's important to know both things. It is hard to get your head around a lot of other subjects when you're so ill. So excuse the background on my kitchen because my mate's been making me a smoothie to keep my vitamin C up. Thumbs up. It's getting late. Wrong time behind me. Don't go on the time on that. And I have to end the stream now because my battery's low. But